for translation. For those who attended yesterday, welcome back. And I want to just, again, yesterday was an incredible event. As you notice, our mission, our focus is to empower entrepreneurs through various stages of business: discovery, startup, break even, profitability, sustainability, scalability, and succession. So whatever stage you are, we've we got speakers and panel discussions to help you move from whatever you are to the next stage. Of course, the emphasis for this entire week is going to be on our theme, which is kingdom innovation and technology, including AI, which comes out of Genesis 1:28, where the Lord instructed us to be fruitful, to multiply, increase in numbers, fill the earth, and subdue, right? And so one of the ways that we do that is through technology and innovation. So whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you work for a business, whether you work for a nonprofit or government, we're going to help you in the next several days to understand how do you integrate biblical principles with cutting edge technology to make a kingdom impact. And we're going to deal with the ethical implications of emerging technology, such as artificial intelligence, and how do you navigate it as people of faith. We're going to have insightful talks and discussions. You'll even have networking opportunities where you'll connect with others. Particularly today, you're going to get a chance to connect with others through breakout sessions where you're going to meet a friend. And we're also going to have some resource sharing where you're going to get a chance to get to learn about resources beyond the conference that can help you to fulfill your purpose and call in the marketplace. Overall, in the course of this week, we're going to help you move your business and your life to the next level. So yesterday, day one of our program, we showcased several kingdom businesses from 5 regions of the world. We learned how they each were persistent in walking out their call in the marketplace. No matter what the economic condition was, we learned about how each of them, in their own unique way, incorporated technology and innovation. We learned about businesses from Asia, from Africa, from Europe, from Latin America, and of course, from North America. The day was kicked off by Pastor Darrell, who laid a foundation for us as he helped us to understand that God is a God of movements. And the fact that he's called us to serve the city, the industry, and the community where we are using innovative technologies and approaches, that you are called actually by God to be in business wherever you are, to serve the community that you're called to serve. That is your mission field. That is your mandate. That is your calling. Well, guys, I now have the privilege, for the last 14, 15 years, Pastor Moore has been faithful, not only serving this organization as a board member, as a board chair, as a donor, as a champion for us, and as an annual speaker at Nehemiah Week. He's the pastor of Carolina Baptist Missionary Baptist Church and one of the most prolific teachers and pastors in our nation. Friends, watch this video.
Carolina Missionary Baptist Church for over 30 years. Under his leadership, he has led the congregation in the acquisition of 18.34 acres of land for the purpose of developing a campus for the advancement of God's kingdom. The project currently includes a family life center and an upcoming state-of-the-art affordable housing for single mothers who are HIV positive or have AIDS. Pastor Moore began his educational pursuits at Bishop College, now called Paul Quinn College, in Dallas, Texas. He is a graduate of the Harvard University Summer Institute for Leaders and the Oxford University Theological Foundation, with a Master of Theology degree. Pastor Anthony and First Lady Cynthia are the proud parents of Sharnessa, Jamal, and Joshua, and they have 3 beautiful grandchildren, Jania, Jalen, and Lyric. Introducing Pastor Anthony Moore.
Well, good morning. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to everybody. It is a privilege and an honor to be with you all on today and to share with you in this devotional service. I'm thanking Patrice and Gina for what you all have been able to do. And certainly let me also thank my preaching partners, especially Pastor Daryl Corbin, who started us out yesterday in a fine way, laying for us foundation. And so even on today, I want to continue this process. In Mark chapter 2, verse 1 through 5, in Mark chapter 2, verses 1 through 5, I want to make sure that we are there and we're looking at this together as we have the basis of our discussion from a textual position. In that particular verse, those verses, it says, a few days later, when Jesus again entered Capernaum, the people heard that he had come home. They gathered in such large numbers that there was no room left, not even outside the door, and he preached the word to them. Some men came, bringing to him a paralyzed man, carried by 4 of them. Since they could not get him to Jesus because of the crowd, they made an opening in the roof above Jesus by digging through it and then lowered the mat the man was lying on. When Jesus saw their faith, he said to the paralyzed man, "Son, your sins are forgiven." I want to entitle this devotional, Being Innovative. Being innovative is what I want to call this particular devotion. If you would just drop that in the chat for me, being innovative. When the mission matters, we find a way to move forward. And that's what stimulated A. Philip Randolph to fight for equal trade opportunities and the right to partake in federal employment and contracts for African Americans. He created the first successful Black trade union and lobbied President Franklin Delano Roosevelt to ban discrimination in the defense industry. His work was so inspired that it inspired President Truman to eventually sign an executive order forbidding segregation, because when the mission matters, we find a way to move forward. That does not mean, however, that the road is going to be easy. The road will be rough, the going will be tough, the hills will be hard to climb, the mountains will be high, the adversaries will be aggressive, and opposition ever present. But when the mission matters, we find a way to move forward. We wake up, we step up, we go up, we get up, we rise up, we show up, we stand up, we speak up, we pull up, we pay. But we find a way to move forward. We don't quit. We don't back up. We don't back down. We don't surrender or capitulate. We find a way to move forward. Someone is asking, Pastor, how? Here's how. We innovate. What does that mean, Pastor, to innovate? Innovation is the process by which something is renewed, brought up to date by applying new processes, introducing new techniques, or establishing new ideas that ultimately create new value. What we used to do will no longer do. Don't disintegrate, we innovate. How we used to operate is no longer operable. During the press conference to announce Nokia being acquired by Microsoft, the CEO of Nokia ended his presentation by saying, "We didn't do anything wrong, but somehow we lost." Upon saying that, all of his management team and himself included started to tear up. Nokia had been a respectable company. They didn't do anything wrong in their business. However, the world for them changed too fast and they moved too slow. They missed out on learning. They missed out on changing, which caused them to lose the opportunity to progressively move forward. The moral of their story is this: if you don't innovate, you'll soon stagnate. It's not wrong if you don't want to learn new things. It's not wrong if you don't want to try new things. It's not wrong if you don't want to do new things. However, if your pace cannot catch up or keep up, you'll soon be left behind. The advantage that you had yesterday will be replaced by the trends and technology of tomorrow. You don't have to do anything wrong, but if others catch the wave and start using technology, it can cause you to lose out. So I came to tell somebody on this morning, change before you have to change. Change before you are forced to change. We can innovate because we have the capacity to do something new, think something new, dream something new, try something new, achieve something new. We have the capacity to create, to devise, to experiment, to explore, to initiate, to invent or originate, to pioneer and to refine because we can innovate. Innovation is necessary because the truth about life is this, you all: life is always in a state of flux. Life is constantly changing and filled with much uncertainty. The pandemic taught us that. The pandemic was not the first time that we had to become inventive. Let me say this. Innovation is different from creativity. Creativity is thinking up new things. Y'all, we do that all the time. Great ideas is creativity. Innovation, however, is doing new things. Innovation requires a problem to solve, plus limited resources, plus a willingness to fail, plus a crazy idea. Now, y'all, that's a formula. I'll do it again. It requires a problem to solve, plus limited resources, plus a willingness to fail, plus a crazy idea. That's innovation. And both sacred history and our cultural history are filled with examples of innovation that help to move life forward. Let me show you all what I mean. Noah built an ark in a response to a flood that had never happened before. Moses repurposed his shepherd's staff and used it to part the Red Sea. Joshua knocked down the walls of Jericho by having Israel to extend its walking regiment and to remix their praise song. David employed the old technology of slings and stones in a new way to defeat the new giant called Goliath. Jesus took an old rugged cross, a symbol of Roman capital punishment, and transformed it into an icon of health, hope, and healing. But not only is sacred history innovative, but cultural history is also filled with innovation. I'm preaching to somebody right now who wasn't raised on lobster and filet mignon, but you survived on chicken legs and pinto beans. You didn't have prime rib, you had chicken backs, hot dogs with pork and beans. You didn't have French croissant bread, but you had Jiffy cornbread. Didn't have rotisserie for lunch, you had oodles and noodles. You were not given a free ride to Harvard, Princeton, or Yale, but you made it through college on mama and grandmama and granddaddy's nickels and dimes. You were not rolling in a car with 24s, but you were rolling on the public bus with 46s. Our history is filled with innovation because when the mission matters, we find a way to move forward. We refuse to quit. And that's the same kind of energy that drove these four faithful friends who showed up here in our text. These men brought their paralyzed partner to Jesus because if anyone could help their friend, then Jesus could. If anyone could fix their partner, Jesus would. If anyone could heal their friend, it was possible through Jesus. And that, my brothers and sisters, is our mission. The number one mission of the body of Christ is to get people to Jesus. Number one mission for the church is to get people to Jesus. The number one mission for biblical entrepreneurs is to introduce people to Jesus. And here's why. Because Jesus saves, Jesus heals, Jesus delivers, Jesus renews, Jesus remakes, Jesus resurrects, Jesus gives increase. Jesus is in the miracle working business. Well, listen, during World War II in Strasbourg, France, there was a church that had been tremendously damaged by the bombs that fell in and around it. The church was 100 years old. It was known for this beautiful statue of Jesus that stood as a landmark out front of the church. The statue was so badly damaged that as a result of the bombing, they thought they needed to find a way to replace it. The hands and the feet of the statue were blown off. However, you all, the statue was so valuable that they made plans to restore it and not replace it. However, as they added up the costs, they concluded that they could only afford to restore the base of the statue, but not the hands or the feet. So they decided to inscribe on the base of the statue something that would serve as a witness of their faith and a challenge to our faith. Here's what they inscribed on the base of the statue: Christ has no hands and no feet but ours. It is with our hands, our feet, our mouths, our minds, our hearts, our social media, and our technology that we are to get people to Jesus Christ. These four guys brought their paralyzed friend to Jesus. He could not get there on his own. He had to be brought by them. His friends brought him to Jesus, but as they approached the place where Jesus was preaching, the crowd was so large that they couldn't get in. The house was full. People were jammed all in the doorway. There wasn't even any room in the window sills. Nobody could move. It was standing room only, and their friend could not stand. But when the mission matters, we find a way to move forward. So, Pastor, what did they do? Well, here it is. They innovated. They improvised. They carried the man up to the roof of the house. They created an opening and lowered their friend down to where he was, right in front of Jesus. And even though the four friends couldn't go in, they didn't give up on getting their friend in. Seeing the paralyzed man, Jesus first forgave him, and then he healed him. Now, the primary meaning of our text is both theological and spiritual. Theologically, Jesus has the authority to forgive and the authority to heal. Spiritually, we should put our faith in him just as the paralyzed man did and his four friends, because you are on the verge of something innovative. God is poised to give somebody listening to me a new idea, a new chance, a new choice, a new opportunity, but you have to train yourself to innovate. What should we expect on the edge of something innovative, Pastor? Well, first, we're going to have to embrace problems. That's point number one. We're going to have to embrace problems. As we look at the text, we discover that it was the problem of their partner's paralysis that drove this courageous crew of four friends into the presence of Jesus. Now, I think it's important to note that Jesus does not view the paralyzed man as an interruption. He views the paralyzed man as an opportunity. Come on, I need you all to help me now. I said Jesus did not view him as an interruption. He viewed the paralyzed man as an opportunity. He engages the paralyzed man's situation to reveal the truth about himself while addressing the paralyzed man's problem at the same time. Here it is what I want you all to know. Problems are not things to fear, they are opportunities to embrace. Y'all, problems are not things to fear, they are opportunities to embrace. Every great innovation came into existence as a solution to a problem, and it changed the world. Apple wanted to democratize computers and bring computing power to everybody. Google wanted to democratize information, making information available to everybody. eBay wanted to democratize commerce so that anyone with a website could compete in the world of retail. Every great innovation came into existence as a solution to a problem. The paralyzed man had a problem. And if you have a problem that needs to be solved, then you are high on the eligibility list for a miracle from the Lord. This man in our text had a problem. The problem with many of us is that we don't realize that there is a problem until it's too late to do anything about it. Listen, you all, there are two types of innovation. First, there is reactive innovation, which is a type of innovation that involves reacting to an event such as a problem, challenge, opportunity, or customer complaint. And this kind of innovation occurs when we react to a problem that we're in the midst of experiencing. Reactive innovation is changing because you have to. And this is where most of us live. We change when we see the light. We change when we feel the heat. We change because we have to. The second type of innovation is proactive innovation, which is a planned and intentional strategy that involves anticipating future trends and needs and developing solutions before they become urgent. It's changing before you have to. In the book entitled Steering Through Chaos by Scott Wilson, he makes the point that the best time to make changes is when you have upward momentum, not when you are in the decline or experiencing a crisis. The problem, however, is that just when we are experiencing upward momentum, most of us don't see any reason to change because, after all, we're on the winning team. We're on our way up and everything is looking good, so we don't feel any need to change. I mean, y'all, after all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The problem with that belief is just because it ain't broke now does not mean it won't be broke shortly. Listen, you all, I need you all to hear me today that first, if we're going to be on the verge of something innovative, and not only must you embrace problems, but secondly, you've got to also establish partnerships. The possibility of one man getting his paralyzed friend to Jesus was slim and none. But with each additional person grabbing a corner of that mat, the possibility of healing came a little closer. Please hear me. If your business, if your plan, if your dream has been given to you by God, you're going to need some partners to make it happen. That's why we ought to always treat people right, because you don't know who it is that's been assigned to help be the answer to your problem. Y'all, these four friends were partners in a faith that could be perceived. They were partners in a faith that could be perceived. People can perceive both your lack of faith and your living faith. Now, I want to ask you all today, which one do you have? Living faith or lack of faith? Faith that is real and rooted in the promises of God will always find a way. And when there is no way, it will make a way. Because when you have faith in God, you cannot give permission to intimidation or interruption or irritation. You cannot give permission to any objects or obstacles to block you, others or people around you from getting to Jesus. And here's why: because you understand that your purpose is calling, and interruptions are often just invitations to grow to your next level. I need you all to hear me today. Your difference is your destiny. I got to quit because my time is gone. I wish I had one more minute, but let me just tell you all that if you're going to, in fact, embrace what God is doing for you in innovation, you are going to have to, one, embrace problems. Two, you're going to, in fact, have to establish partnerships. But then thirdly, you should expect pushback. For every action, there is an action. They push their partner into the presence of the Lord. They pushed their partner into the presence of the Lord. His sins were forgiven. His body was restored. And immediately there was some pushback. There were people present who did not approve of what had taken place. And I need you to know there will always be people who, in fact, will push back on your innovation and your advancement. Here is how I close, you all. We can't let pushback push you back. That's how I ended today. Thank you for your time today. We can't let pushback push us back. We have got to embrace, you all. We've got to embrace our problems. We've got to establish partnership, and we have to expect pushback. Thank you for your time.
Wow. Pastor, you did it again. I love that. You cannot let pushback push you back. Oh my goodness. That's all he wrote. I love it. Thank you. What a word. Listen, if you want more Pastor Moore, we have, there's a devotional that we do have in our community that you can access. It's called One More Minute Devotional. It's also a mini course. You can just go to that link right there, promo24.nehemiahweek.com, and you can purchase it. You can have Pastor Moore. What you saw here, by the way, that devotional is also available in audio form, where you can have them for 40 days, just ministering to you every morning in this kind of way. What a message. Pastor Moore, thank you so much. But be on the lookout. Pastor Moore is also initiating an initiative, a fundraising event. He's a member of SCI, Sustainable Church. We're going to be working with him on an initiative to help him with a project he has going on. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to be sending it out in the next several weeks or so. But speaking of Sustainable Church, and Pastor Moore was, I think, church number 002, 003, 004 in the first 10 to be a part. And Pastor, thank you for allowing us to partner with you, fulfill as you minister to us, allowing us to serve you in this way. Speaking of Sustainable Church, on October the 3rd, we're going to have our annual Sustainable Church Global Forum. And so we're going to have Pastor Victor Penang, we're going to have Pastor Mark Estes, Pastor Serene Backer, Archbishop Ellen Wiggins. They're going to be a panel. We're going to deal with how to bring innovation into your local church. So this is an event, guys, for you to come, bring your pastor, bring your church leadership to talk about how does it look like for your church to have an active marketplace ministry, and for your church leadership to be intentional and be innovative and entrepreneurial. We'll look forward to that. What a message. I mean, what a powerful message. Well, Facebook friends, it is time for us to transition. But if you want to join us for the close event, you can just join us for the day or for the rest of the week. So you can just go ahead, use that QR code, sign up, join us. We'll love to have you. But now we're about to close up. If we don't see you at the rest of the conference, join us again tomorrow as Pastor Serene Backer join us, and a great worship from Manor House, and continued ministry. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. With that, let's kind of just, that was just incredible. We're going to say goodbye to you.